Good evening, dear audience. On behalf of the production team of the American Conversations, I would like to welcome you all to the monthly interaction. This program is designed with a view to bringing in a fresh American perspective on Nepal's political, diplomatic, and other pressing situations, which involves development and socioeconomic development as well. In today's interaction, we have Lisa Curtis, a senior research fellow at the Heritage Foundation, often named as America's #1 research think tank group. Mrs. Curtis analyzes America's economic, security, and political relationship with South Asia, including Afghanistan. Lawmakers and journalists alike turn to Curtis in Washington, D.C. whenever they need any clear-eyed perspectives on U.S. interest in South Asia. CNN, Fox News, MSNBC, PBS, CNBC, and BBC, among other media outlets, always find her as a reliable source when it comes to analyzing any breaking news in South Asia. Curtis worked as an in charge of South Asia Studies for Senate Foreign Relations Committee for 3 years during Senator Richard Lugar's chairmanship. Curtis was also senior advisor at the White House on South Asian affairs between 2001 and 2003. Please welcome Lisa Curtis. Mrs. Curtis, welcome to the American Conversations.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. As an introduction, could you describe to us the objectives of the Asian Studies Center at the Heritage Foundation and how it all started?
Yes, the Asian Studies Center at the Heritage Foundation is made up of about 5 or 6 analysts who are experts in particular regions of Asia. I'm a South Asia expert. We also have a Northeast Asia expert. We have a Southeast Asia expert. We have 2 experts who follow China, one on the security issues, one on the political issues. But as the senior research fellow on South Asia, I follow developments closely in Afghanistan, Pakistan, India, and to a lesser extent, Nepal, Sri Lanka, and Bangladesh. And the Asian Studies Center was started with an endowment from an Asian country, and we continue to do our work. And what is unique about the Heritage Foundation is that we rely primarily on individual donors, and we have over 800,000 individual donors throughout the world, mostly in the United States, who provides the funding for our research, which provides us the ability to do independent analysis, to initiate our own analysis, but from the conservative perspective. As a conservative think tank, the Heritage Foundation supports foreign policies that would work toward free and open trade, a strong U.S. national defense, and strong civil society promoting democracy abroad. So I think, in these aspects, this would be the focus of our research in the South Asia region.
What is the significance of a think tank like Heritage Foundation, reported in Nepal, America's #1 think tank group, like you said before, in studying and analyzing the world affairs today as compared to the policy, academia, government, and industries?
Well, the Heritage Foundation has been around since 1973. We were established in 1973. And I think the idea was there was not a think tank in D.C. that was specifically trying to move conservative policies. And this was the idea behind the founding of the Heritage Foundation. And also with a specific view of influencing legislation. That's why we're strategically located on Capitol Hill, because our main focus is to influence legislation on Capitol Hill. But we also try to influence the policy of the State Department, Defense Department, National Security Council as well. And one of the main areas that we make our policy proposals is through testifying in front of congressional committees. So for instance, from 2007 to 2010, I think I testified in front of congressional committees about a dozen times on issues mainly related to Pakistan, but also Afghanistan and U.S. relations with India. So that is what drives the Heritage Foundation work, is the issues that are of concern on Capitol Hill and the major policy issues that the U.S. is grappling with. And over the last few years, I think that the main issues in South Asia have been policies towards Afghanistan, where we're fighting a war, Pakistan, which is part of that scenario, and then, of course, U.S. relations with a rising India.
In our interview, I would like to focus specifically on Nepal, with South Asia as the background. Where does Nepal figure in the political and policy map of the Asian Studies Center or the Heritage Foundation?
Well, the Heritage Foundation is interested in developments in Nepal for several reasons. One is the interest in seeing multi-party democracy develop successfully in Nepal, and we have seen some struggles over the last couple of years in that respect, but progress as well. The second is, continuing the robust economic assistance programs from the U.S. to Nepal. That assistance has increased recently, about 50 to 60 million in U.S. assistance to Nepal each year. And also because Nepal is surrounded by, two major emerging giants in Asia, that is India and China. So that gives Nepal a very critical geopolitical position, and I think that is what constitutes the major U.S. interest in Nepal. And Heritage Foundation over the years, as I've said, has focused a lot of attention on Afghanistan, Pakistan, India, maybe to a lesser extent on Nepal. But we have had the foreign minister of Nepal came and spoke at Heritage. We've been involved in different working groups around town, so we've played more of a quiet role, I would say, on Nepal. But it is an important country and does deserve the attention of the think tank community in Washington. So hopefully we'll be able to focus more attention on Nepal in the coming months and years.
Well, I assume that Asian Studies Center is aware of the unstable political situation in Nepal. How do you see these developments affecting American policies regarding Nepal?
Well, I think there is concern in the U.S., particularly with the departure of the UN mission in Nepal, which departed the country January 15th, just a couple of days ago. And there is concern that they're leaving at a time when the peace process is not complete, that there has not really been a resolution to the issue of integrating former Maoist insurgents into the army, as well as there's not been a constitution completed. So there's still major divisions among the various political parties, and some concern that those divisions could grow now that the UN is departing. However, my understanding is the UN will continue to be involved in the peace process and take an interest in trying to help the parties resolve their differences. And I think this is important. Nobody wants to see a resurfacing of Maoist insurgency. That was a very tough period for Nepal from 1996 to 2006. So I think there's a lot of support for completing the peace process, completing the constitution, and seeing Nepal set firmly on a path toward multi-party democracy. You have answered part of my next question, but to elaborate more on that, let me ask again. The past decade for Nepal has been tumultuous.
looking Heritage Foundation's area of studies and research output, one finds little, if any, studies and analysis on Nepal as it struggled through monarchy to democracy to Maoist insurgency to now democratic republic. What could be the reason that Nepal apparently is not a priority in the scope of study of the Heritage Foundation?
Well, I think you have to look at what else is happening in South Asia during this time period. We have 100,000 U.S. troops deployed in Afghanistan. We have a very critical situation in Pakistan where you have rising extremism. This is a nuclear-armed state. You have tensions between India, Pakistan. So there are a lot of issues that are fundamental to U.S. national security